Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty, here at you again with the second edition of this week's vlog. It's been a week, but we're here. It's Independence Day. It's the 4th of July, which in America, that is the freedom that we are given, that we are our own country back in 1776. Um, been quite a week, like I said, but even getting this to record has been quite a week, but we are here, we are well, and let me just make sure I am all good, and I think we are after having not trouble finding the cord to getting the connector to work to the computer from the mic from the microphone, we are a go. So I did record an episode about 5 minutes ago. It wasn't too good. So I went and tried to repair the cord, and hence without having to wait all weekend to get a cord here because that wouldn't work either. We are here. So what I wanted to share this week, and by the title of my vlog, it was rekindling my reason for being at day services. And I have been at day services for 20 years this month. And that was straight out of high school. Back when back 20 years ago, um, my therapist heard a presentation at a lunch from a person who was from my day program who worked there at the time. And they thought her and my mother and myself thought that would be a good idea. So I got more grounded into what I wanted to do in life. And I went there. And when they first saw me, they thought, oh, I'm never coming back. And 20 years ago, I'm still there. Now, why would you say 20 years? And how would that come to be? Well, I have to say, I didn't think I was going to stay forever, but things happen, and they still happen. Even a few weeks ago, they still happen. So I was there the first time for about 7 or 8 months, and I went to vocational training school in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, the Hiram Janitor Center. And when I came back, I was still lacking the resources and the skills I needed to get employment. And I still didn't know if I wanted to work full time, part time. And the system was kind of broken. And even though it's still not the greatest, it was not really helpful. It was more helpful by me going back to program and getting the resources. So as I transitioned back into work, as I had did some office work before I had went to learn about office work at vocational training. When I came back and was still learning office work, about about 4 years later, I had secured a job that eventually was mine and still is mine today. That's been 14 years ago. And ironically, I only work a little couple hours a week, less than 10, and I still need the support that I need. It's not in the program does that. I mean, it's not as intense as it was when I first started, and I need that support not just because it's the issues at work, it's the issues in life. And I think for the most part, just with being autistic and needing to fill a void, that until COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, I had went to day services every day, and that was my life, and I had went every day. But when COVID hit, we had to switch our gears, and probably until then, I was pretty much focused on making sure I got the program needs met, and not so much on myself. Then COVID hit, and I still was in that same mindset until we had returned from after the lockdowns. And there was a lot about staggered schedules and all that business, just the social distancing, all the precautions that had to be done. And it made a very challenging time for everybody. So eventually I did keep my job all throughout it, and I'm grateful for that. But in the year starting right before the pandemic, when I had moved out on my own, because while I had goals of starting to find a way to live out on my own, um, I was not totally mentally well, and I knew that for a very long time until a couple weeks ago that I finally came to terms with it. But In the course of that time, I had issues with the first apartment that I had from 2018 to 2020. And after the pandemic and after I had left my apartment, I had moved back in with my parents. And when I came back after the pandemic, I had to look for an apartment on my own again. I did have support before the pandemic with supported housing, however, that they were lacking in what they could do during the pandemic. So it kind of had to have me think. And luckily, I got where I am, and with family and with other support, I am. But and then I had to learn skills that I really didn't learn beforehand, like cleaning and cooking and just basic things. And I learned that over the last few years, all amid going over multiple transitions that were that were sometimes challenging. One of the big, we had a lot of staff change in those last 5 or 6 years, and that was a day program, and that was challenging. We had trouble with transportation, a lot of backlash, a lot of issues, and I did have a lot of anxiety about it because that was one thing I am anxious about a lot of time is about finding that focus and that need and that making sure that that's taken care of. Um, that was a big focus too. And then about last December, that changed when we went to paratransit, and that was something I never thought I would do or be able to do, but I did, and I'm doing quite well with it, and quite independent. But what ultimately hit was about a month ago, when I was not really caring for myself again. I was really relapsing. And now I do keep in mind that every time I reacted at program, the staff have always been phenomenal, and they've always had my back. They've always supported me through whatever I wanted to do. But in the end, I was not listening to them. And I was not taking care of myself. And when it started to become evident to others, and they did let me know, and instead of me being my usual self that brushed it off, I took it to heart because I felt I needed to. And I slowly did. And I eventually realized I need programming right now. I need day services because I need to take care of the white elephant in the room, the the elephant in the room, the thing that I've hid in my closet that I've started to come out about in recent weeks, and that is regarding my medication adherence. And I have to say that almost if I look at the calendar here real quick, that almost we're about 2 weeks in, I'd say, and over 2.5 weeks, and we've been adherent, and I'm doing much better as a result. I've learned to deal with the side effects and accept them for what they are, and to manage myself around them. Um, it's a slow process, and it takes time. And I'm glad that I chose to go back to programming where they can help me work on these skills and these goals. Because if you have goals, you do know that oftentimes when you have an insurance payer like Medicaid or Medicare, any kind of thing that has to do with there's always a requirement for goals to be had. And somebody had asked me, do you not have any goals? And when I was not knowing that I was doing what I was doing, I realized I needed to go back and work on those goals. And I did. And I did quite well. And I'm still working on them. And even though we're 2 weeks in, it's going to be a whole year. But there's other things I want to work on too. So it's going to take time. And I'm going to need to be patient with myself. But in the last few weeks, I have been the less stressed person that I have been at day services because I don't feel like I owe day services anything. I feel like I am there to work on me and care for me in the way that I need to and be the person who I truly want to be. Not somebody who has to be there to do work or feel like they have to carry a job. I am choosing how to use day services in the way that I need to better my mental health or better whatever I need to do while I'm there. And there was when I had posted something about how I needed it yesterday on Facebook and Instagram, there was a lot of good comments. How some people they can't go into what society thinks, and that's very well true because I can't work the normal 9 to 5 jobs like somebody says, And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think sometimes society sets us at a higher bar. Like immediately after high school, we're supposed to get a job and have a house and all those things. Well, no, it's not for everybody. Not everybody can do that, and not everybody can drive a car. Not everybody can get married. Not everybody can do all these things. And I'm learning to love myself authentically. And part of that is taking care of my mental health. And part of that is going to program when I need to. It's not anybody's judgment or anybody's business or anybody's thing but my own. But I have to be passionate and I have to want to go and not have that anxiety that I've had for so long, because so much of the stuff that happened in the past is just that. It happened in the past. And it's not a reflection of who I am today. So I think going forward, I see that. And there's a employment is nice and I do like my job, and I can honestly say if I was to work in the mainstream world where there were a lot of demands and normal things that is basically required out in the general working world, I don't believe I could make it. So I think I am where I am and I am who I am. So that is where it needs to be. And I think that is pretty much what sums up the story about rekindling my spirit and where I need to be. It's been a week, but I'm still learning and growing more and more each and every day. And I think that's something that I need to be grateful for in my heart and in my way, and how it is part of my life each and every day. So I want to thank you for listening. And if you haven't already, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I do appreciate the new subscribers as they come in. If you haven't already, be sure to visit my website, um, dustisdynastyusa.com. And if you want to see all my socials and all my where I'm streaming this on all my podcasting platforms, you can visit my link tree. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty, and you'll find all that information there. If you haven't already, if you're watching this and you're in America today, if it's the 4th of July, I just want you to please have a good and safe holiday and enjoy the fireworks and whatever and however you can. There's nothing wrong with that. And we'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there, and bye for now.